The state government does a backflip on school closures. Outrage in the gay and lesbian community over an assault. More criticism of the carbon tax, this time from unions. And National Aboriginal Week underway.
This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. The state government has scrapped its plans to close 20 schools, caving in to fierce public pressure. Nick McKim apologising to school communities for putting them through unnecessary pain and anxiety.
Late this afternoon, Nick McKim delivered the news 20 schools were hoping for.
I can today announce that the government has listened to the Tasmanian community and we will not be proceeding any further with our current process to consider up to 20 schools in Tasmania for potential closure.
The explanation, simple.
We got this process wrong.
Nick McKim acknowledging the hurt and distress inflicted since budget day.
And I apologise both personally and on behalf of the government for that pain.
The opposition welcomes the announcement but can't believe the plan was established in the first place.
Well, this is an unprecedented back down from an incompetent minister.
A reference group will now be created.
The government's not walking away from some of the challenges facing our education system.
Planned savings will instead be made through the Raising the Bar, Closing the Gap program and in learning services. But the trouble season might not be over for Nick McKim, with his Green colleague Kim Booth hinting at a no-confidence move over the Triabunna mill and a government loan to its new buyer.
That matter has not been discussed formally by our party room.
We don't have confidence in the government, we never have. But as to whether or not we're going to play along with Mr Booth's games, well, that's obviously something for our team to consider with our leader to announce.
Alex Johnston, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, one of Tasmania's most decorated World War II pilots laid to rest. And Royal Charm winning the hearts of Canadians. Welcome back. The Royal Charm offensive in Canada is paying off, with fans outnumbering protesters in Quebec City. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge went on an impromptu street walk to meet hundreds of Canadians. They later visited a drop-in centre for homeless youths, where Prince William showed off his football skills. William and Kate are now on Prince Edward Island, where Kate apparently told one well-wisher she was keen to start a family. Now to the week's first look at business and finance news with thanks to Shadforth, your financial advisors. The Australian share market gained ground today on the back of better than expected US manufacturing data. Airline stocks rallied on news of the grounding of Tiger Airways Australia by the air safety regulator at the weekend. The ASX 200 index gained 19.5 points. Meanwhile, the Aussie dollar is buying 129.44 New Zealand cents and a short while ago trading at 107.26 US cents. Well, sport is next with Rob Fairs and good news for Melbourne fans.
Yes, from the AFL Match Review panel. We'll have all that coming up shortly. And Novak Djokovic rises above Rafa at Wimbledon. Good evening. Demons fans can breathe a sigh of relief tonight after young gun Jack Trengove was cleared by the AFL Match Review panel over a sling tackle. There's also good news for Saints fans, with Nick Riewoldt also free to play this week.
Trengove was sweating on the result. This time he's been cleared, adding to confusion over the rule, although Sam Mitchell thinks it's crystal clear.
I think if you hurt someone, you're in trouble. If you don't, you get away with it. So. Seems pretty simple.
Nick Riewoldt was led off, a major relief with the Saints now in sight of the top 8. Collingwood's revealed Chris Dawes has had surgery for a broken knuckle and will miss up to 6 weeks.
Really disappointing for him. He's been in some really good form, so he's important to our team.
It will force a restructure, with Darren Jolly set to play a bigger role up forward. Whilst it's a setback for Collingwood, Hawthorn are quickly running out of players. 5 stars injured yesterday, including Buddy.
I think Franco just rolled his ankle. He'll be a bit sore for the week, but he'll be fine.
The prognosis is not so good for Jordan Lyle. He'll have surgery tomorrow on a depressed cheekbone. Chance Bateman, Michael Osborne and Josh Gibson also struggling.
Former Melbourne star Russell Robertson will play for Burnie in the TSL this weekend. The Tasmanian has agreed to a one-off game with the Dockers and say he could bring another prominent Tasmanian with him in the future.
The high-flying ex-Demon will pull on the purple against the Magpies on Friday night in an attempt to increase crowd numbers at Devonport Oval.
The opportunity's come up to help out a brother club in Devonport down there, struggling a little bit, and the football teams need to stick together and help each other out whenever they can. He's also hinted at luring fellow Tasmanian Matthew Richardson to the state to play a game for Devonport in a bid to revitalise the coastal rivalry. If he was playing for Devonport, we could be at either ends of the ground trying to sit on some heads and kick some goals. Hobart coach Graham Fox has made no excuses for his side's 36-point loss to South Launceston on Saturday, despite the Tigers missing 11 of their best 22. Fox said his side still should have been too strong for the undermanned Bulldogs.
We went up there expecting to win, but I don't want to make excuses. Good on South Launceston, they had players out as well. But, it was very disappointing to come away with a loss. And the Northern Bombers have been dealt a serious blow, losing ruckman Paul O'Shea for the rest of the season. O'Shea rupturing his anterior cruciate ligament in the Bombers' clash with Burnie 2 weeks ago.
It's a season-ending injury, so he was out last week. It's just one of those things that happens in football. We've got to move on and try and find a replacement. The Bombers currently sit in third on the TSL ladder. Their next test comes against Lauderdale on Saturday. Chris Rowbottom, Southern Cross News.
Well, Novak Djokovic has eliminated any doubt that he deserves the world #1 ranking. Overnight, he beat Rafael Nadal for the 5th time this year to claim his maiden Wimbledon crown. Yeah, and that's where we'll leave sport tonight, Joe.
Thank you very much for that, Rob. Coming up next, we join Murph with the weather forecast.
Good evening. Maximum temperatures around about the July average today. Hobart, Launceston and Devonport all 13 degrees. Burnie one better on 14 after a fairly balmy night, 12. Flinders Island Airport the high today with 15 degrees. The top rainfall 9 millimetres at Strawn and Lyowini to 3 o'clock. Bridport, Campania, St Helens, Scamander and Bicheno all 14 degrees. King Island, Wynyard and Strawn 13. Dover and Swansea 12 degrees. The spiralling cloud to our west is due to a low pressure zone which will pass our south tomorrow with a bit of luck. There is a decent burst of cold air behind the low, south of South Australia, some high-level cloud over Western Australia. Cloudy conditions prevailed over most of the state today, while tomorrow the low should be to the west with an associated trough stretching into South Australia. A cold front builds to the distant southwest. Westerlies blowing in tonight and tomorrow at 20 to 30 knots over most waters, but up to 45 knots over northern waters, swells to 4 metres in the west and south. A minor flood warning for the North Esk, a severe weather warning for damaging winds and abnormally high tides in the northeast, west, southeast, northwest coast, Furneaux Islands and King Island, along with a bushwalkers alert for snow in the central and western plateau districts. A road weather alert also for snow and gusty winds. A sheep grazier's warning for most districts. Check the Bureau's website for specifics. A gale warning for all coastal waters. A small craft wind alert for the lakes. On to the forecast. Showers easing from Hobart, a top of 10, single figures for New Norfolk and Port Arthur. For Launceston tomorrow, a few showers clearing, a top of 10, 10 for Devonport, 11 degrees for Georgetown, a windy day. A few showers and windy for Burnie, 11 the maximum, single figures for Strawn and Queenstown, a windy day in the west as well. In the east, St Helens, showers clearing, a top of 11 along with Swansea, Orford a shower or 2 and 10. On Wednesday, showers more isolated about the northeast with a chance of thunderstorms about the northwest and Bass Strait Islands. Showers again on Thursday, mainly in the west and south and easing during the afternoon. Showers on Friday increasing during the afternoon before easing in the evening. A cold day by Perth standards tomorrow, a shower in Adelaide and Melbourne, sunny but windy in Sydney, a top of 17 degrees, and fine in Brisbane and in Cairns after a morning shower. 11 degrees and cloudy in Hobart at the moment, showery and 9 in Launceston, showery and 9 in Devonport. Joe, somebody's done a lot of work making that all look fresh and new. Pity they couldn't have done that for me.
I think they tried. Thanks, Merv. Before we leave you tonight, Thailand has elected its first female Prime Minister after a year of bloody political protests. Yingluck Shinawatra is the little sister of exiled former PM Thaksin Shinawatra. Her landslide victory triggered celebrations among her red shirt supporters who described themselves as commoners. They were involved in deadly clashes with the army and anti-government demonstrations last year. Shinawatra supporters have warned the army they'll return to the streets if it tries to block her from taking office. And that is your news for this Monday. Thanks so much for joining us from the entire news team. Good night.